I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to kick the Hornets' nest today. I want to do it. I want to kick the Hornets' nest today. Mario Turner's better than DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton sucked. He's injured all the time. And DeAndre Ayton doesn't stretch the floor. Oh my God, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Stop being fucking stupid. Bro, you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it. Okay? People give Miles Turner more leash than they give Tyrese Halliburton. The only fucking reason the Pacers go to the playoffs is Tyrese Halliburton. And they give Miles Turner more leash than they give this motherfucker. So we're going to talk about it. I feel like kicking the Hornets' nest today, boys. So I'm going to do it because it's fun. I fucking enjoy it. It fucking, like... It really, like, it's the adrenaline rush, man. I love it. So let's talk about DeAndre Ayton. Should the Pacers fucking sign him? Because I think the answer is an astounding yes. Like, if he's willing to come to Indiana on a vet minimum deal, yeah, motherfucker. I want him in the building. I want him. I want Kevin Pritchard to get on a flight, fly first class, give this motherfucker first class seats, and get his ass in Indiana. We know he wants to play with Tyrese Halliburton. They offered him that max contract after all the bullshit in Phoenix, so clearly they're not too fucking worried about it. They met with him before they offered him that max contract. Do people understand that? Monty Williams got fired from Detroit after he stole $75 million from them. The motherfucker legitimately sabotaged the fucking team so he could get out of there because he didn't want to be in Detroit after they paid him an ass ton of money, purposely played the fucking team piss poor so they would fire him, and he could make away with $75 million. You know, I'm going to say this, okay? The topic of conversation all day has been, is DeAndre Ayton a better basketball player than Miles Turner? I'm not going to go there. I'm actually going to say I think they're both equally skilled, but I think DeAndre Ayton does all the things that Miles Turner doesn't do, and Miles Turner does all the things that DeAndre Ayton doesn't do. However, I'm going to fuck with you a little bit. I'm going to fuck with you a little bit. I would like to have both. I'd like to have both. I want my cake, and I want to eat it too. Bring back Miles Turner. You already picked up the option on Tony Bradley. They extended a qualifying offer to Isaiah Jackson, which I'm not sure if he's going to pick up. I would think he is, but he's coming off a torn Achilles. So there's really no guarantee that Isaiah Jackson's going to be the same player he was before the Achilles tear. Okay? And being that all of his ability is solely based on athleticism, Achilles injuries end careers, boys. I've told you this before. Ask Kobe Bryant. Okay, Kobe Bryant was never the same after his Achilles tear. But, all right, if you can bring in DeAndre Ayton and get you a legitimate rebounding threat, a legitimate post-scoring threat, a guy with a free throw line jumper, a guy who could maybe shoot the three-point shot if we given him a chance. I mean, dude, do people, like, look at Pascal Siakam's three-point percentage before he came to the Pacers. I don't know who the shooting coach is in Indiana, but they did wonders with Pascal Siakam. I mean, whoever they are, they did God's work. So, that's why I'm all in on this. Let's talk about, I guess, why Portland bought out his contract. Well, it was obvious. They drafted another center. They would have had 5 centers on their roster. DeAndre Ayton gets injured a lot. He only played 40 games, I think, the past 2 years for Portland. But he is only 26 years old. So, therefore, there is something there. But the thing is, Donovan Clingan is a guy they would like to move forward with. DeAndre Ayton does not fit their timeline anyway. DeAndre Ayton was owed $35 million, and regardless of what you think, a $35 million contract is very hard to trade for, especially in the new CBA where people are not looking to take on contracts like that. Okay? We're in this salary cap space hell era where teams are like, the realization is finally setting in, and teams don't want to take on guys like DeAndre Ayton with $35 million contracts. They want low, cheap, value contracts that they can maybe add some depth to their roster. Guys making upwards of $30 million anymore are just guys that teams do not want unless you're a superstar level player. All right? Or somebody who's close to it, or in the ballpark of it, or have potential of being it. All right? But DeAndre Ayton's a guy that I think if he came to Indiana, people would be very impressed with what they see. I think especially with the bench unit, I don't think he would start over Miles Turner. Maybe, who knows? Depending on what the coach, what Rick wants and what the front office wants. But I think you'd be very impressed to see him play with T.J. McConnell and Obi Toppin and Benedict Mathurin, and Jarris Walker if Jarris Walker gets thrown in there. I think that would be a really, really good bench unit. I think T.J. McConnell would do wonders. I mean, wonders for DeAndre Ayton's career, because DeAndre Ayton, okay, a lot of people don't understand this. Let's talk about it now. DeAndre Ayton's at a point in his career where he basically has to prove himself. Okay, he's not in a position where he can cause problems. Okay, he's gonna have to come in, sit down, shut the fuck up, be seen and not heard. All right, DeAndre Ayton is at that point in his career, even though he's only 26, where if he wants teams to take a shot on him, he's going to have to be cooperative, okay? He's going to have to buy in and just do what he's told and be good at it. And I think he's capable of that. Yeah, you could talk about the injury stuff, but if he's a bench center, I don't really care. And DeAndre Ayton is also a guy that if he got starter level minutes, let's say Miles gets injured, having DeAndre Ayton as a backup option is really not the end of the world, okay? Like, having DeAndre Ayton as your backup center in the situation that Miles Turner gets injured, I think he would have a handful of games that would really impress you. That you would be like, okay, like, I see now. Okay, Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan are not fucking dumb. I don't know why people seem to think like, oh, they traded for Obi Toppin and he was good. They traded for Jalen Smith and he was good. They drafted Andrew Nembhard and he was good. Ben Shepherd had a down year this past year, but Ben Shepherd's pretty good. Benedict Mathurin's pretty good. They traded for Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton's been pretty good. They traded for Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam's been pretty fucking good. How is it that DeAndre Ayton is the only guy that apparently Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan are just fucking morons on? That's what I'd like to know. I'll tell you why. Because he would replace Miles Turner. That's why. That's why. That's the only reason why. You want the fucking the cold hard facts? Okay? That's why. That's why they're fucking stupid. Because Miles Turner is the golden boy of Indiana, and the idea of anybody taking his position on the team fucking pisses his fanboys off. It pisses Indiana fans off. And I'm sorry, okay, but the fact of the matter is, there are centers out there that are better than Miles Turner, okay? Like, I get it. If you want a guy that shoots the three, Miles Turner's top 5, okay, when it comes to just a 3-and-D center. But the problem is we are 28th out of 30 teams in rebounding. Okay? Miles Turner is not necessarily a good one-on-one defender. Whenever he's asked to defend Bam Adebayo, whenever he is asked to defend, I don't know, Nikola Jokic, whenever he's asked to defend Giannis or Joel Embiid or any assignment against anybody who's actually fucking good at his position, he gets his lunch eaten. So even Sabonis, there's even been times that since Sabonis has gotten traded, he's worked the shit out of Miles Turner. So this idea that Miles Turner is not replaceable or will never be replaceable is just a fallacy that people live with in their heads in a fucking fantasy land somewhere. Okay? He's a good player, but people treat him like he's the fucking messiah. And he's going to have a down year this upcoming year because Halliburton's not going to be there to set him up. So if that's going to be the case, give me some DeAndre. And you know what? Some post play in a year where you're not going to have Halliburton could be a good thing. Because you're going to need to get offense from somewhere. And Miles Turner can't just stand out on the three-point line anymore. Or just trail on a play and get an open shot. No, you're going to need somebody to create offense. And DeAndre Ayton, pretty good in the post. So is Pascal Siakam. Siakam is, I think, one of the best post players in the league with that post fadeaway. But it's just the idea, if you could get DeAndre Ayton down there and put him in there with the bench unit and get somebody who off the bench is a fucking menace, I'm fine with it. I think you'd see things out of him in starter minutes that you would be very, very impressed with. And that's my spiel on it. That's what I think. You don't have to like DeAndre Ayton, but I think it is incredibly overblown by NBA fans as a whole. Even people on YouTube, I think, say shit about DeAndre Ayton when they've never actually watched this dude play a game. Because there are games where he's the main priority, like the main guy, and there's been games he's put up a 20-20, you know, or like, you know, 22 and 15, 23 and 16, shit like that. He's capable. He just needs to go somewhere that prioritizes him, or a team that's willing to prioritize him. And not to say that's going to be Indiana, but it's just the idea, if I'm Indiana, knowing the history, knowing he wants to play with Halliburton, knowing that the players that generally come to Indiana enjoy playing here, whether they get traded here or sign here, they know they enjoy. We just went to the NBA Finals too. Okay, I get it. That might not be the case in the next 2 or 3 years here because the league is going to change in the next year or two. There's going to be a lot of players move around from conference to conference and so on and so forth. But just the idea, I'm not against it. I know there's people that are going to be. Oh, he's a locker room issue. He's this, he's that. Oh my God, just spare me the bullshit. Okay, like. I really think people just don't like the idea that somebody could potentially take Miles Turner's job. That's what I think it is. Like, it's just amazing the leash that Miles Turner has. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Miles Turner's a good player. But people treat him like he's way better than he is. People treat him like fucking royalty. That man probably hasn't had to buy a meal in Indiana in fucking 8 years. Like, it's just amazing to me that people treat him better than Tyrese Halliburton. And Tyrese Halliburton's like the only reason this team like really gets to the playoffs consistently. I do think we'll get back to the playoffs this year because the East seems like it's wide open. But at the end of the day, am I okay with bringing in DeAndre Ayton? Yeah. If it's on a vet minimum deal, absolutely. And if he fucks up, just get rid of him. Just waive him. Doesn't cost you anything. Portland already paid him the $30+ million or whatever they agreed on to buy him out. They already agreed to pay him his bread. So, you know, if we could have both, can't say I'm mad at it. That's all I'm going to say. I will say this, though. I think DeAndre Ayton's a significantly better player than people give him credit for. I think people like to think he's a bad player. And I don't think people understand this either as well, and this is what I'm going to go out on. When you've been the number one guy on every single team in your entire career, from grade school up until college, and then you get drafted into the NBA and you're a third option, and then you go to Portland and you think now's your time, and you're a part of the Damian Lillard trade and you end up being a fourth or fifth option, yeah, I'd be pretty pissed too. Especially when I know what I'm capable of. It's just I'm not getting the opportunity to. So that's all I'm going to say. I think DeAndre Ayton coming to Indiana would be a good thing. I know that's probably going to be a hot take, and there's people who are going to bring up the injury concerns and the attitude and the locker room problems and whatever the fuck else. Miles is better, whatever. But if the price is right, if it's a vet minimum deal, 1 year prove it deal, I can't be mad at it. Because the same thing also, here's the other thing I think people are forgetting. Let's say Ayton comes here and he likes playing here, right? And he really wants to play with Halliburton. He'll resign probably for cheap just to play with Halliburton to experience it. You know what I'm saying? Get him in the building. Let him meet people. Let him become a part of the team. Let him become a part of a culture that players fucking love. Do I think we should sign him? Absolutely. No questions asked. I don't even think that's a question. Do I think we should sign him? Yes. And there's going to be people who say no because of stupid shit. But that's where I'm at. So tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.